What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. On this video here, we will be going over support and resistance. Like I said earlier, this is just going to be an updated version of how I actually draw support and resistance. Kind of like the other video I just posted, where it's just an updated version of how I look at trend lines now. Now, as far as support and resistance goes, I actually still use these tools. They're very, very volatile tools to use. I mean, they really come in handy. Like you got to use support and resistance. That's just how I feel about trading. You have to use it. Um, but I have a way of drawing them up now. I actually learned this from Cuebanks. So definitely shout out to him for teaching this method of how to draw with support resistance. So without further ado, we're definitely going to go ahead and jump into this. So first things first, you want to be on your daily chart before you start drawing up your support resistance, because the first support and resistance lines that we draw are going to all be based off the daily time frame. Now, the first thing we do is we take our candle chart and we switch it to line charts. Right now, once we actually do this, it's going to be able to give you a kind of look at the market of actually where it's, pinpointing and stopping and going or whatever, where it's reversing that. So literally the next step from there is go find a horizontal line. That will be in the second box down. If you click that arrow, you'll see it says horizontal lines. So after you click it, a little box will come up, right? And you want to change that line from whatever color it is to a dark red. So that way you can identify your daily support and resistance lines as red. You already know what it is. It's color coordinated. They don't necessarily have to be red, but this is how I was taught. I mean, you could do whatever color you want to. With TradingView or just with trading in general, it's like I said before, it's really based on the trader on what you want to do. You kind of got your own freedom. But literally, once you plot the line, that's going to be your support resistance line. But it's a key to this, right? It's one little key. So the key is you want to put this support and resistance line off of areas of support and resistance where price kind of hits it at the same time. So I'm gonna find a good area, and then I'm gonna show you what I mean by that. So we'll go with this one right here, right? It's kind of relevant. It's kind of actually where price is at. Excuse me. It's kind of actually where price is at currently. You don't want to be marking, stuff way up here. There's no point in doing that. You kind of want to be where price is at. But let's kind of get into what I mean by it kind of touches this line. So if you look, right, this is like a little gap right here, right? Where price comes up, almost hits the line, come down, and then it breaks through. And the same thing happened here twice. You kind of got like a gap situation where price comes up like it wants to hit it, but it doesn't, right? Those are called gaps, right? Then it's two more other things that we look for. You got touches and overlays, right? This here, this is an overlay. It's when price actually, comes down and then comes back above it. That's called an overlay. The examples I showed you before, they're called gaps. These two examples right here also are overlays, right? So you have gaps, you have overlays, and then you have touches. This right here is an example of a touch where price actually comes up and touches it, right? Well, excuse my drawing, but it actually comes up and it touches it. So the three examples again, I'll draw more here. You got a touch, right? You have overlays, then you have gaps, right? Those are your three different type of support and resistance touches that you're going to see or that you're going to look for when you're drawing your support and resistance line off this chart. Now, the reason those are relevant is because when you actually switch this back from line charts to candle charts, you can kind of see how price plays off of these areas, right? Right here, where that touch was, the candles actually touched it, reversed, and then broke through, right? Switch it back to the line chart. You see it was a touch here, right? These little overlays, right? Let's look at those. Switch it back to candle charts. You kind of see a price dip below it, came back, dip below it, came back before it took off. Switch it back to line charts, and let's go look at our gaps. Now, usually with the gaps, those are wicks that kind of touch. So like these here, we might have a wick that come out of these candles that actually touch the red line. Bing. So like I said before, shout out to Cuebanks for actually teaching this method because it is a bomb-ass method. But normally what I like to do when I actually draw up my support and resistance line by using this method, I normally draw, like I said, probably about 3 to 4 daily support and resistance lines, right? And they have to be relevant to where price is currently at. So we're going to find a few more, and we're going to keep on rocking out. So I like this area due to the fact here, that here, got a spike touch here, right there. It's kind of a cool area to me, and it's kind of what price is kind of like it might push up to. Let's find some more. And you also can go back and look at previous points in the market if you need, help on figuring out if an area is relevant enough. And let's find one more. And I'm gonna use this area right here. So boom, we got about 4 areas, right? Now, the next step is, well, if we do that on the daily, we go down to the 4 hour. And it's the same exact thing, but the only thing different is we switch it from red lines to green lines. So instead of dark red, let's find dark green. Now, with this, I usually put 2 to 3 in between these daily zones. The same thing Q taught me, so same thing I'm gonna teach you. Right, normally look for 2 to 3 lines in between, or 2 to 3 areas you're gonna put support and resistance lines in between your daily support and resistance lines. You don't want to clutter your chart because if there's too much going on, you get lost on your chart. So you don't want that to happen. And it's the same scenario, right? Look for areas where price is touching as support and resistance, right? So something like that. You got to push up here. These can be actually like overlays in a sense. You got a touch here, overlay there. You kind of got some overlays here for support, some resistance touches, some little small overlays here, and you can see it plays out pretty good. Find a few more. Here you got a touch there, support touch here, some resistance touches, some more resistance touch. Some more resistance touch here. Price broke above, did a support situation here. Kind of see how that plays out as well. And if I could get one more in there, we can, but if not, we'll just move on to the next area. All right, we'll definitely put that last one there. And let's keep moving down. So this area kind of gave me some decent stuff. I didn't have to go back and look. Now this middle area, like I said, if it's too spaced out, you actually can't find nothing. There's nothing wrong with actually going back to previous area and marking it up, because usually price plays off of previous areas. Like that's one thing about trading, price repeats itself. So it's nothing wrong with going back and looking. At least in my situation, I feel like there's nothing wrong with it. That's a decent one to me. See, we got some like this one. I'm not liking too much. It's more of a support hits than I see resistance. So let's kind of go back. Let me see here. Actually, we can do this middle one. Because you got resistance. There's a gap right here of support. You got a touch here of resistance. Touch there for support. And then, like I said, if you want to go back and look for previous data, you definitely can. It's this middle line. See how it touches here for support. You keep pushing back. Okay, right here, a little gap overlay. Yeah, it's a pretty decent area right there as well. And we'll mark up one just from off of this area and then go back and finish up what we were doing. Yeah, this area right here, that's pretty good. All right, and then the last area, and then we will continue. And I will actually show you how all this plays out. I definitely like that one. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find one more. I'm gonna go back and look up top because that situation there, that was pretty decent there. All right, yes, okay. All right, so now we're gonna just switch this back from line charts to candles, and then you can kind of see how price kind of plays off of these areas pretty well. This method of support resistance kind of helps me out with some pinpoint entries sometimes, especially with using other methods like supply and demand. Excuse me. It helps me kind of find some pinpoint entries. But as you can see, just paying attention to this little downtrend here, when price actually came below this level, you can see how it respected daily support and resistance, right? Literally respects it, right? You just follow along. Once it actually broke structure here, it retested daily support as resistance, and then kept going down. Literally came up, retested 4-hour drop all the way down to daily, come back up. Literally, like, this method is pretty cold. Like I said, definitely shout out to Cuebanks once again for doing this. That was a pretty dope method on how to teach it, and you can see how it works for previous history. We mainly just drew it up over there, but I can definitely go back and we can still see how price plays off of these areas pretty well. Right, as long as it's in that zone. Now, you don't have to mark up the whole chart, but as long as it's in that zone. I did get a lot of questions from my students before about how often do you have to update these lines. It's just based off of price. So if price just happens to stay within this zone, you could probably use these for a while. But if it definitely does kind of shoot out of that zone, all you got to do is the same thing. Just switch right back to the daily chart and then redraw some. Do you have to get rid of the ones that you draw? Not all the time, but if you want to clean your charts up, definitely do it. It's always worth the work. And the more work you have, you definitely put into this, the better your outcomes are going to be. But that's definitely the support and resistance method. Definitely study this method, apply it to your charts. Always remember that everybody's support and resistance line will be different. Yours won't always be the same as mine. Mine won't be always the same as yours or any other trader out here. It's just going to be a general area where everybody's normally going to be placing support and resistance lines. So always keep that in mind. But other than that, appreciate you guys for tuning in. And we'll see you on the next video. All right.